Let's move to the next session. So as you know, SQL injection is a very critical vulnerability. So I would like to welcome Kuldeep to explain the PHP or to SQL injection attack. Please give a round of applause for Kuldeep. He is going to give a demo, so as Arman has given, so it's gonna be interesting.
Hello everyone, good morning on this beautiful Saturday evening. Today my topic is going to be PHP execute after redirect to SQL injection and how this vulnerability landed me a total of $10,000 in bounties. So before we start, I'd like to tell a bit about myself. I'm an Ahmedabad chapter leader. I've been actively volunteering there since 2018. I'm a chapter leader now. I was a volunteer before. I currently do full-time bug bounty at Synac Red Team. I was a SRT hero in last year's recognition program. And you, most of you may know me from my blog, which is kuldeep.io. So before we go to the SQL injection part, I'd like to explain a bit about PHP execute after redirect vulnerability. So you usually, I guess most of you may have seen these kind of vulnerabilities, but when I say EAR, not all of you may understand what is EAR. So EAR basically stands for execute after redirect. It basically occurs when an exit call is not followed by a header call. So usually what happens is when validating sessions, when validating sessions in PHP, there is a header call that they say that let's check if the user is authenticated or not. If the user is authenticated, then we forward it to the dashboard or whatever we want. If the user is not authenticated, then we redirect him to the login page. So usually what happens is directly after the header call, we have to provide an exit call so that the remaining script does not execute. So this is what the code looks like. In a secure implementation, you can see that there is a header call. The if condition checks if the username is variable is set. If the username variable is set, means the user is authenticated. But in this condition, it checks that if the username variable is not set, then it will redirect him to the login page. But here, after this header call, there is an exit call. What this means that if there is some code after this PHP tag, let's say there is some dashboard or admin panel or something like that, then it will not execute because the PHP script has been exited using this exit call. But in this vulnerable configuration, what happens is there is an exit call, this call is missing. So if there is some admin panel or dashboard or anything like that, it will continue to execute. So how do you detect these kind of vulnerabilities? So usually you can detect this while doing FUF or checking the responses. So when you check when you check in Bob suite, you can see that some 3xs responses have a response body. You have to check that that response body is something sensitive or not. So this thing you have to do manually. If the content length is unusually large, like let's say that content is 2,000 lines long, then there is something fishy going on. If you use BuffSuite Professional, then it will automatically find these kind of issues for you. It will tell you that okay, this content length is unusually high, so you may want to check it. So here in this demo, you can in this screenshot you can see that there is this db.php file that is returning 200, but that is fine. 200 responses are meant to have some responses, but there is an esearch.php file that is returning 302 and its size is 2511, which is quite large when compared to 302 responses. So the vulnerability I found went like this: that I used FUF to find all the PHP files, and when I found the PHP file that was quite sensitive, I actually found this esearch.php file, and it had quite large content. When I visited it, it redirected me to login.php. So I had to log in, but it had some contents in it. So what I did was I added a match and replace rule in Burp Suite. So it basically removed the location header entirely. So I was not redirecting anywhere, and then the content was basically rendered into the browser. So after that eSearch.php page was found and the content was rendered, I saw an employee search page. So if I search for an employee name, it will search in the database, and the employee name will be returned. That okay, this employee is in the database. But in that search page, there was an SQL injection, and from there I just ran SQL map and got a bounty of $9903. Now I'd like to show you the demo. Here I have prepared the demo just for this presentation. So there is this BSides.Kuldeep.io website. This is live at this moment. So if you want to perform along with, so you can also do that. So when we visit this, it redirects us to this index.php, which is just a basic sign-in page. So we go to here. Now we fuzzed all the PHP files. So after fuzzing the PHP files, we get a db.php and index.php, and along with that we find an eSearch.php. So we go and visit the eSearch.php file, but it again redirects us to the login page that you can see here. The location is index.php here. So now what I did was that I took this header and removed it entirely from the response headers. So I added this match and replace rule. That remove this location index.php header from all the response headers. So after doing this, now this time when we visit eSearch.php, we will not be redirected to login page. Now we directly see the employee search page. Now here I search DOM accesses, and it tells us that employee DOM access was not found. But if we provide a single quote, then it gives us the SQL error. If we provide 2 single quotes, then the error is gone, confirming our SQL injection. So now I directly throw this entirely into SQL map, and the SQL map will do the job for us. So now as you can see here, the SQL injection has been confirmed by SQL map, and we are going ahead with the dumping the databases. Here we see the database which is named BSides. Now we go on with dumping all the tables. There is a login table. Now once we dump the login table, we see the username is admin and the password is admin123. So basically this was the demo. Thank you so much for your time.
Any question you have for Kuldeep? All right, great. Thank you so much, Kuldeep, for the very informative session.